is it actually worth it to daily drive a Maserati GranTurismo? This has the F136 Ferrari motor in it, just slightly different than what's actually in Ferraris, but still, when you listen to the way this thing sings, it's pretty much a Ferrari, and for very, very cheap as well. This is my Maserati GranTurismo, and I've owned it for a little over 6 months at this point. And we're gonna go for a nice spirited drive and just talk about what it's like to own this thing and if it's actually worth it. I recently took it to get it inspected and had some work done, and wait till you hear how much I had to pay for that. And by the way, if you see my black pinky, I did an oil change on this car, and the drain plug was torqued so much that I had to put all my weight to get it untorqued, and I slammed my pinky against a metal bar underneath the car. That was fun, but I did save $600 in the process by doing it myself. Now, every time you step in your Maserati GranTurismo, first thing you got to do, click Sport and then put this thing over so that the exhaust valves stay open. Doesn't exist. Every time you step in this car, you just want to go straight to a road like this and let the car absolutely sing. I cannot believe that you can get a car that sounds this good, that looks this good, and feels this good for the price of just $30,000-$40,000. Now, with the spec that I got, it being red, it being a convertible, which there are the convertible GranTurismos are very limited in production, which means parts costs are going to be extremely high, but it also means they are extremely rare to come across. You are driving a car that you may only see on the road once every month, if that. I mean, in the span that I've owned this car, I've seen 2 GranTurismos. So, and it's been 6 months. So maybe if you live in like Miami or something, you might see more of these, but I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and just it's still a major city, but coming across these cars is so rare. To describe with words, but I wouldn't rather have any other car. I mean, you know, when you compare this to like an Audi R8 or something, or a Porsche 911, those are phenomenal cars, but the way that this thing makes you feel when you drive it, it is indescribable. You have to get whether you rent one or buy one, at least at one point in your life, you need to take a GranTurismo on a road like this, because oh my gosh, I mean, if you end up owning one, it makes the fear of something happening with the car that's gonna, you know, be a major repair, it's just like, you know what, if I have to pay it, I'll pay it. I don't care. I mean, with that being said, I did recently take it to Euroworks, and here's the full inspection report. When I bought this car, I knew that it had some issues. I knew it wasn't in perfect condition. The 2 major things were the belts and then the valve cover gasket oil leak. I knew I had to get those fixed. So full inspection was $500, valve cover gaskets $1,800, and then the belts were turning radius, very nice, and then the belts were $800. So I had to pay sorry, every time it hits 2,000 RPM, I just have to listen to it. I had to pay $3,200 for the full inspection, the belts, and the valve cover gaskets. These are notorious for leaking oil out of the valve covers, so if you are going to buy one, make sure that that has been done. I mean, even the 2018, 2019 models have that problem, and owners tend to fix it, you know, early on. So at the very least, hopefully that did help the resale value of this car at least a little bit. You know, I did get this car 75% off. So that's the beautiful thing about GranTurismos. Never again will cars sound like this. And now that these have already been through an owner or two or three or four or five, or in my case, 6, you know, they're so cheap. Just be careful when you look for one, of course. A pre-purchase inspection is an absolute must. Mind you, I did not do one. It's going pretty good so far, though. Gets you from point A to B, but would you rather go absolutely loving every second of your life, or would you rather go to point B just casually listening to music? Maybe, you know, something else is on your mind and you're overthinking things. In this car, you really are simply in the moment when you drive this thing. Put yourself on a back road or even just a top-down drive to work, and suddenly for the 30-40 minutes that you're in the car, everything becomes okay. That's the only way I can describe this. And these cars like to be driven. These run into issues when owners buy them and they sit in the garage for weeks on end. I mean, this is pretty much what I do on more than a weekly basis. I take this thing out and I really use the car. As you can see in pretty much every single one of my videos, that's what this car was built for. And I'm gonna enjoy every second of it. And, well, if you buy one of these, please do. A huge fan of the corners. It really is more of a luxury car than it is a quote-unquote track car. This is so far from a track car. It's pretty heavy, but you can still really enjoy doing it. And if you get the hardtop version, it's going to feel a bit more planted, a bit more agile in the corners. But you know, I'm telling you guys, convertibles, it just gives you that special feeling when you drive it, and it brings you closer to the sound from the exhaust in the back. It was just a no-brainer for me to get the convertible. But either way, a GranTurismo is a GranTurismo. You're going to hear the sound one way or another, and you're going to absolutely love your life, as long as the car treats you well too. You know, these are not hard to work on, guys. I don't know what your mechanical experience is. I have like negative amounts of mechanical experience, but with simply a jack and 2 jack stands, I was able to change the oil filter, change the brake pads, paint the brake calipers because they were super faded, and all that stuff would have costed thousands of dollars. Yes, I really want a 911. Yes, I really want an R8. I want a Gallardo. I want a Huracan. I've driven cars all across that caliber, but yet I have this feeling that if I ever were to own anything outside of the Maserati GranTurismo, I would want to just go back to this car. It is unbelievable what this thing the feeling you get from driving this thing. Yes, it's expensive to own. Yes, the parts are expensive. It can be a little bit scary driving this thing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Take it from me. If this thing only lasts 8 months, which it shouldn't, these things like to be driven, I'm driving it, and just maintain it. They're not that like unreliable. But even if absolute worst case scenario, this thing just completely totaled itself after 8 months, the experience I've gotten from driving this thing the way I have over those 8 months makes every dollar worth it, without a doubt. More videos to come on this car, of course, but I appreciate you guys for watching. Again, if you have any questions about owning a GranTurismo, or if you have owned your own, give your experience down in the comments. I would recommend it. Just saying, I don't know any car that beats the emotional experience you get out of driving this. So appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.